Welcome to the optical fiber communication. In today's lecture, we will see what is BV diagram. So first we need to understand what is this B and what is this V. If you remember, we solved the equation for the field that exists inside fiber core, and there we put one substitution that Q square is equal to omega square mu epsilon minus beta square. Then inside fiber core, the radial distance is less than the radius of the core. A indicates radius of the core and R indicates the radial distance. When R is less than A, Q square is greater than 0, and therefore we can say beta square is less than omega square mu epsilon 1. Now inside cladding, the radial distance is greater than A, so Q square is less than 0. Therefore we can write beta square is greater than omega square mu epsilon 2. So if we combine these two conditions, we can say that this beta square lies in between omega square mu epsilon 2 and omega square mu epsilon 1. So if we take the square root, we can find the limits for this beta, that is beta is greater than omega under root mu epsilon 2 and it is less than omega under root mu epsilon 1. Now if we consider this omega under root mu epsilon 2, omega we can write as 2 pi f and f we can replace by c by lambda. So if we simplify this 2 pi c by lambda under root mu epsilon 2, now this under root mu epsilon 2 is nothing but velocity of light inside the medium, which is given by n2 by c. So we'll get the final equation as beta 2. So which can also be written as 2 pi by lambda n2, which is the refractive index of cladding. So we can say beta 2 is a propagation constant for the cladding part. Similar way, we can get omega under root mu epsilon 1 as beta 1, that is propagation constant inside core, which is also given by 2 pi by lambda into n1. n1 is refractive index of the core. So if I put these values in above equation, what I will get is beta lies in between beta 1 and beta 2. Now let us define two variables. One is u square and one is w square, where u square is omega square mu epsilon 1 minus beta square and w square is beta square minus omega square mu epsilon 2. If we add these two together and if I simplify, I will get beta 1 square minus beta 2 square. Now if I multiply this with a square, where a is the radius of the fiber core, then the term that I will get is a v square. Remember, this is capital V, not the small v. So v is called as a normalized frequency parameter. So if we multiply u square plus w square by a square, I will get v square. And if we take this beta 0 square outside in the bracket, n1 square minus n2 square. Now this beta 0 is nothing but the propagation constant given by 2 pi by lambda. If I put that and if I find the square root, I will get the parameter which is called as a normalized frequency parameter, or it is also called as a V number. So you can get this V number, that's 2 pi by lambda A into n1 square minus n2 square raised to 1 by 2. And we know that this n1 square minus n2 square raised to 1 by 2 is nothing but the numerical aperture of the fiber. So we can get the equation for V number as 2 pi by lambda A into Na. Remember, this Na is one of the important parameter, but it is related with only the refractive indices of core and cladding. From this numerical aperture, we cannot say anything about the fiber core diameter or wavelength of the light that is passing through the core. But if we consider this V number, it is related with the lambda as well as numerical aperture as well as radius of the core, and it is directly proportional to the radius and the numerical aperture and inversely proportional to the wavelength. It is also related with the number of modes that can be transmitted through the fiber. So we can say, if we want to transmit more and more modes inside optical fiber, we require the value of A to be more, or we can increase the numerical aperture, or we can reduce the wavelength of the light that is passing through the fiber core. So depend on these three parameters, we can change V, and by changing V we can get more number of modes supported by the fiber. Now that we know the V, let's look at what is this B. Now we found this bound on the beta 1 and beta 2. If I define beta 0 as 2 pi by lambda, we can replace beta 1 and beta 2, and if I divide entire equation by beta 0, I will get beta by beta 0 is in between n2 and n1. This term beta by beta 0 is called the effective refractive index. It is denoted by n effective. So from this we can write the equation as the effective refractive index lies between n2 and n1. Now there is one more parameter that we can define, which is called the normalized phase constant, denoted by small b, instead of defining the absolute phase constant beta. This b is given by beta square minus beta 2 square divided by beta 1 square minus beta 2 square. If I replace the beta 1 and beta 2 in terms of the refractive indices, I will get the final equation for this B, that is the normalized phase constant is equal to n effective square minus n2 square divided by n1 square minus n2 square. So now you can define the limit for this B. If I consider n effective is equal to n2, that is the effective refractive index is near to n2 or is equal to n2, then we get B equal to 0. So the lower limit for B will be 0. If I consider effective refractive index is equal to n1, then I will get B equal to 1. So the minimum value for B will be 0 and maximum value for B is equal to 1. When B equal to 0, that indicates the effective refractive index is equal to n2, that is near to the cladding, and when B equal to 1, that indicates effective refractive index is n1, that is near to the core. So now that we know the two terms V number and this B, from this we can study what is BV diagram. On the y-axis you will observe it is normalized propagation constant, that is B. It is ranging from 0 to 1. 0 corresponds to the refractive index N2. N1 corresponds to the refractive index N1. And on the x-axis, it is a normalized frequency parameter, that is V number. And on that, we will observe different types of modes that we have already studied: HE11, TE01, TM01, HE21, HE12, HE31, and so on. So at particular V number, we will get these different types of modes. Again, to avoid the complexity, we already derived the linearly polarized modes from these degenerate modes. So we will see that also. HE11 corresponds to the LP01, then TE01, TM01, and HE21. These three can be clubbed together to get one single mode, that is LP11 mode. Then EH11 and HE31 will give only one mode, that is LP21. HE12 will give LP02. So instead of studying these modes, we can consider these linearly polarized modes to study this BV diagram. Remember, on the y-axis, it is normalized propagation constant B. When B is equal to 0, we can say effective refractive index is near to cladding. When B equal to 1, effective refractive index is equal to N1. Now what we understand from this diagram, if you look at this first mode, that is LP01, if I draw one vertical line, then when V number is less than 2 or 2.4, if we say, if this V number is less than 2.4, you can observe there is only one mode which can propagate through the fiber. If you observe to the left side of this vertical line, there is only one mode, and that is LP01 or HE11. So we can say when this V number is less than 2.405, that exact number is 2.405. In that case, only one mode can propagate through the fiber. And when only one mode can propagate through the fiber, we define that fiber as a single mode fiber. Now if I consider the second vertical line, which is near about 4, below this line you can observe two modes can exist in the fiber, that is LP01 and LP11. So if this V number is near about 3.8 or 3.9, then fiber can support two modes. Again, if I increase V number, then you can observe fiber will support more and more number of modes. So in this way, from this BV diagram, we can find which modes can propagate through the fiber depend on this V parameter or V number. Now if you consider the first mode, that is LP01, if I draw these two lines, vertical line indicates the value of V number 2.405 and the horizontal line indicates that at that point where these two lines crosses, the effective refractive index is around 0.5. That is, the effective refractive index is exactly at the center between N2 and N1. So this indicates half of the power will travel through the core and half of the power travel through the cladding. This is the significance of this graph. Whenever this effective refractive index is near to N1, we can say more power is confined within the core. And when this effective refractive index is nearer to the N2 or B equal to 0, then more power is concentrated inside cladding. So if you consider for single mode operation, V number is less than 2.405. So the maximum power you can get is only half of the total power. If I reduce this V number even more, definitely the operation will be single mode, but the effective refractive index will go near to N2. So now reducing V number will cause more and more power to be traveled inside cladding. So the maximum power for this mode is only half of the total power that is launched into the fiber. Now let's try to increase the power to be concentrated inside core. That means we need to move this horizontal line in upward direction, that is towards N1. So if we do that, you can observe this blue line where it crosses the LP01 mode. If I plot the vertical line at that point, that indicates definitely the LP101 mode, the more power will be concentrated inside core, since the effective refractive index is near about N1 or this B is around 0.8 or 0.82. So definitely it is near about 1. So we can say large amount of power will be concentrated in core. But if you consider this vertical line at that point the V number is around 4 point or it is around 5. So when this V number is 5, your fiber is not a single mode fiber now. It is supporting almost 4 modes. So it becomes a multi-mode fiber. And when there are more number of modes, definitely we get some kind of dispersion in that fiber. So if we want single mode operation, definitely we require this V number to be less than 2.405, but maximum power that can be guided inside core is only half of the total power. So to want more number of modes, we need high value of V number. So this is the significance of this diagram. Now this V number is directly related to the numerical aperture and the radius. But if we consider wavelength of the light that is passing through the fiber, V number is inversely proportional to this lambda. So this V number 2.405 is called as a cutoff V number. And if we are moving towards right side of this, that means if we are increasing V number more than 2.405, that means we are reducing the wavelength, since these two are inversely proportional. Increasing V number means reducing wavelength, and increasing wavelength means reducing V number. So when V number is less than 2.405, the wavelength will be more, right? And when this V number is greater than 2.4, the wavelength will be less. So we can say whenever the wavelength is less than the wavelength at V number 2.405, then it will support only one mode. So we can say whenever V number is less than 2.405, it will support only one mode. and if wavelength is greater than this wavelength which corresponds to V number 2.405, it will support single mode fiber. See, this V number and wavelength are inversely proportional to each other. So V number 2.405 corresponds to particular wavelength. That wavelength we define as a cutoff wavelength lambda c. Now when V number is greater than cutoff V number, lambda is less than lambda c. And when V number is less than cutoff V number, lambda is greater than lambda c. So from this we can conclude, if V number is less than 2.405, there will be single mode operation, and lambda is greater than lambda c, there will be single mode operation. And in second case, if V number is greater than 2.405, fiber becomes multi-mode fiber. It will support more number of modes. And in terms of lambda, whenever lambda is less than lambda c, the fiber becomes multi-mode fiber and it will support more number of modes. So again we can define these two terms. For single mode operation, the range of normalized frequency parameter is only from 0 to 2.405. So we define V, if in between 0 and 2.405 the fiber becomes single mode fiber, and the value V equal to 2.405, it is called cutoff normalized frequency for single mode fiber. So corresponding to this cutoff frequency, we define what is cutoff wavelength, as we have discussed in the earlier section. The cutoff wavelength is nothing but the wavelength which corresponds to the cutoff V number 2.405. So we can define lambda c. It is at V equal to Vc, you can get what is lambda c. N1 2 delta raised to 1 by 2 is same as the numerical aperture. So if we consider lambda c by lambda, we will get one equation, that is V by Vc. Thank you.